Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another case study. I'm here today with not one, but two people. I'm here with Michael and Israel, and they're going to tell us their story about how they got started on Amazon and lots more. So, gentlemen, welcome to the call today.
Howdy.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to have both of you here. We'll start with yourself, Michael, if that's okay. I'd love for you to let people know where you're from and how did you get involved in this weird and wonderful world of Amazon selling?
Well, I live in Atlanta, been here for 40 plus years, and I came into Amazon not the typical way. I had a brick and mortar wholesale dessert company. About 9-10 years ago, I had gotten an account with a major international airline that wanted me to make a dessert for them. But if everybody has flown, they know they have those little containers that everything has to fit into. So I had to go find a special pan to make my product that would fit into that little pan. And not knowing anything about anything, somehow or other I found out about Alibaba, ended up on Alibaba, and here was a company that could make this specialized pan for me. And oh, by the way, the minimum order quantity is 2,000 units, not knowing anything about anything. Okay, fine. This is the pan I need. This is the size. Yep, 2,000 pieces came. Well, as it turned out, I only needed to use about 400 to 500 of these pans that came, and the rest were sitting in my warehouse in inventory, never having been touched for 5 plus years. Well, I lost the account. What do I do with all these pans? So I started hunting around, thought about Amazon. I bought a book and I read the book and it told me to do this, do that. And well, anyway, long story short, I jumped in. I put these little things on Amazon and damned if they didn't sell out relatively quickly. Well, I bought 2,000 more. Those sold out. And that happened about 3 or 4 times, much to my surprise, much to my happiness. I said, well, there really is something here. And I went and I found another product, which was a bamboo product. Don't go into bamboo. Well, anyway, the company made it. And within a week of going live, this was Amazon's bestseller in that category. Yeah, exactly what I said. And, we were selling 10 and 15 units a day. Unbeknownst to me, they were made very poorly. When the returns started coming in, Amazon said, you're done with that. And, I had to make changes. They made more product for me. I got them on and still had issues with them. But while that was happening, I happened to see a podcast or a webinar with Stephen James, and you were on it. And I said, there's something about this guy, and I think I've told you this over the time. There was something about you that just struck home. You sounded honest. You looked good. The product sounded great. So I got into MPSH, 4 years ago.
Would be, yeah.
I bought it. I started doing it, and I ended up with one product out of that at that time. But my brick and mortar was still going on, so I can use all kinds of excuses, as many of us always do. I was just screwing around with Amazon, and I wasn't paying attention to it. It was on autopilot. It was selling, but I started buying all your products. I figured, ultimately, I wanted to sell my business, get out of it, retire, and take my computer, my laptop with Marketplace, and go into retirement wherever I wanted to go. But now I've sold my business 3 weeks ago. I'm diving in. My cousin Israel, who'll tell you how he came into all this, and then we decided to partner up. So I'll let Israel tell you how he's doing it, and then how we ended up joining.
Sure. Go ahead, Israel. Let's do it.
Well, I've been in high-tech research and development pretty much my entire life. And so other people who are in that industry know there's ups and downs. The opening up of trade with China changed it dramatically, and ended up moving around the country a lot more than I would have thought I would have when I first got started. With the last move here, I started thinking about, okay, I'm getting older. What am I going to do? I don't really feel comfortable long-term, even though I've done fairly well. So I started looking around. Since I was comfortable with high tech, I'm comfortable working remotely and so forth. I started, and I've been an Amazon Prime member for so long, I started noticing these FBA things popping up. fulfilled by Amazon, and I got curious about it, so I started looking into it. As it happened, I was in Atlanta, and I'd come across MPSH and Stephen James and some of the others. And I was in Atlanta for my grandson's first birthday party, and we went out to dinner with Michael and his family and the rest of my family. And happened to meet, Michael and I got to talking and about what we were doing, and I mentioned that I was looking for something, and he said, "Have you checked out MPSH?" And I said, "Well, I've heard of them, but I've just now started looking at it." And so I went back to Colorado, started looking into it, very quickly decided MPSH was the best program for me. I just like I like you and Robert, the attitudes.
That's nice to hear.
I like the descriptions of the program. So I jumped in late in the fall. Yeah. And like Michael, I started buying in the various programs. Got my first product in the pipe right around the beginning of the year, right after January. Then, of course, all this coronavirus stuff happened. So just about the time the product arrived in Houston, I signed up for Superhero Freight as well. Everything shut down. But as it worked out, Michael and I got involved in another program through MPSH. And we're kind of testing the water, see how well we work together, found out we seem to have a pretty good rapport, and we're comfortable with telling each other what we felt. So just sort of loosely started talking about, why don't we do this together? And just recently we decided to take that plunge. So here we are. So I don't really have a product on Amazon yet. I was got the listing.
This is the beginning of an interesting story, I think, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So now we're kind of up to date now. I suppose coming back then just to Michael, just to keep it flowing between two of you guys, because you both bounce off each other so well. What's the plan for this year for the private label side of things then, Michael?
Right now we have 2 products that are samples or should be en route as we speak. We are looking at 2 other products right now, trying to figure out if we can get those, if they make sense. We are in middle of June, and Israel and I have kind of loosely said we want to have at least 10 SKUs by the end of the year. Right now, with what I have, we have 4. Israel has the 1 SKU. So minimally, we're looking at 5 more SKUs. Interestingly enough, in a few hours, Israel and I are going to be talking with those guys up in Boston just to see how they work together.
Yeah.
When I met with them in Houston, I had spoken to them about it, and they said, sure. They are the quintessential highlight for your reel.
They're doing $5,000 a day or something now, I think, is a run rate. So it's good. It's good.
So I had spoken with them, and they said, sure, we'll talk with you guys. Everybody does this on their own, generally, or with a spouse, and it's a whole different animal when you're doing it that way.
I never worked well that way. As you know, I always, like, having Robert was great for me, and any business I go into now, I typically have a partner, but you're right. A lot of people that come into the program do start it on their own. And then some people do, like you're doing now, partner up. I think it's a really good way to go,
Yeah, Israel and I are looking, as he said, with that other program that we've been doing, we found we work very well together. We had no issue saying you're wrong, you're right, I'm right, you're wrong, however that works out. And we're both of the mindset that we don't take it personally. So, but we wanted to get the idea from those guys, just how they go about doing it, what their day is like, how they bounce ideas off, what happens if I don't like what you said, show me why I should agree with it. We're both retired by and large, Israel and I.
I suppose just to bring the story up to date, Michael, you sold your company recently, right?
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was a long time in coming. After 40 plus years of owning bakeries, it was a pleasant, nice.
Yes. Yeah.
So, here it is, the midday on a Thursday, and I'm sitting in my house, and, I did some work. Scheduling now, and because of you, actually, my schedule revolves around, I get up, I do what I need to do. Then my first thing is I read. I get some reading in, then I'm watching some of the videos from you guys, from other people, and then I get down to research. as you and Robert are quick to point out in all the different courses, research may be only 2 hours a day. And that's the way to retire. I like that idea.
Well, it's leverage though, right? Because even today, for example, in my life, I've got yourselves. I'm doing another case study later on, just after this one today. And I had a call with Robert, and that's basically all I've done today. However, the leverage in that's big, right? Because, you're like us, you're doing your research today. That's highly leveraged. Israel, the same. It's a highly leveraged activity because then you find a product, you bring it in. Like you guys already have, you're saying you've already got 4 SKUs. You're looking in there 4, 5, or 6 SKUs in, or whatever you're saying, up to 10. Like they'll work hard for you. So if you find one of them in a 2 hour period of time, that's really good. Obviously, you don't always find them in a 2 hour period of time, but it's time well invested. And I think that's the big thing that you guys have both bring. Like you've both done the whole corporate thing, owning a business thing, selling the business thing. And so I think what's interesting for me is the fact that, as you just said there, you're working during the day, you're at home. What are the biggest benefits to this business model do you guys see for yourselves? I know it's an obvious question, but I think it'd be cool to get your perspective on it.
I'll speak first, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll bring Israel in then. Sure.
For 40 plus years, I was a slave to my alarm clock. And owning a bakery, whether it had been retail or wholesale, my alarm clock was a whole lot different than most people's alarm clock. The worst day of the week for me was Sunday afternoon, because now I'm already getting my mindset into, oh God, I have another week of work. Even owning the businesses, for me, it wasn't just sitting in my office and doing whatever paperwork needed to be done. Certainly that was part of it, but I was also involved much in production and manual labor. And the idea that I don't have that, I had to go down to my daughter the other day on Monday. It was 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. And I said, I'm driving down the road. And I said, wow, it's Monday morning. I don't have to do that anymore. Go to work. I don't have to be responsible for customers calling me up. Having this just happen in 3 weeks ago, I'm still reconciling that this is my new normal. So for me, that's my benefit. And now, like I tell my wife, I got my laptop. Where do we want to go travel? And I'm still in business.
How about you, Israel? What's your perspective? Having been in maybe more of the corporate end of things for a long time?
Well, I like working. I like having things to do. And I like having control over what I'm doing. As I said before, I'm comfortable working in a remote virtual environment. That's pretty much what I've always done. What I didn't like was being dependent upon other people's decisions for my livelihood and for what I was going to have to do. And quite honestly, having to work with some people that maybe weren't the best to work with. So
now you have a dream partner in Michael now. So there you go.
Yeah. It's like, and like Michael had mentioned with the, have a laptop, we'll travel. I've done that for decades now where, I just take the laptop with me no matter where I was in the world. I was in contact with my team. I was able to work with people. I was able to solve problems. So this gives me that same freedom. And at the same time, I'm in control over the things that matter to me. And the things that I don't like doing, Amazon will take care of.
Yes, absolutely. The day-to-day hassles of where's my item, etc. That's right. So that's great. I mean, I think it's a super perspective from the two of you. Like you've both been someone, a lot of people would consider very successful in your careers. Obviously, as you were mentioning, Michael and Israel, you had that sense of I have to do things and things like that, which is tough, right? Especially your story, Michael. I think now, I love the idea that, this is you already got some products selling, but this is the real growth now is going to happen. And so I'm really excited to see what your journey looks like. But I'd be interested to hear, just from your perspective, Michael, where's the ultimate vision for where you're looking to go? Do you have a vision from a monetary standpoint, from a number of product standpoint? Where's your head at in that respect? Just so that we can come back maybe in 6 months and see how you guys are doing on that journey.
Israel and I have spoken about this. Being retired and being here in the States with Social Security and with whatever income I get from whatever investments, I don't need a lot of money. And in fact, I think in Houston, I told you, all I need right at this moment in net income, or gross income for that matter, is about $60,000. If we figure that out, $60,000 based on the MPSH method is about $180,000 a year, gross. But now with Israel and I, it's $360,000.
Maybe maybe a little bit more, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a lot. Now, having said that, Israel and I had the conversation. He says, well, why aren't we going for more? Well, that's a damn good question.
Why not?
Why not? With the two of us doing this, that original product that I had, that original product in its sales paid for everything I have done with Amazon, with Marketplace Superheroes. I have put out virtually not $1 of my own pocket money. It all started from that business, from that product. All we need is 4, 5, 10 of those products. At this stage of my life, and I'm speaking for me now, I don't need a lot.
Yeah. It's funny though, Michael, like I'm not quite at your stage of life. I mean, you're not that much older than me, only a couple of years. Only a couple of years. But like, it's funny because now I suppose, like, I feel like I don't need very much. My accountant always says to me, you're a high net worth person, but you don't spend money like you're a high net worth person. You spend money like you got no money. But I feel like I think that's a great lesson everybody can take away from today, though. And I hope maybe you guys will endorse it, maybe not. But like, I think some people chase big, expensive things their whole lives, but really, like, it's quite pointless. Like, you don't get a whole lot from that. I think, like, looking at where you guys are now, having experienced a lot in your careers, you're not looking for a whole lot, because at the end of the day, things don't really matter that much. What you guys have both talked about is the travel aspect and seeing places. Like, so are like experiences, are they the more important thing, is what I guess I'm asking for anybody who's wondering.
I think I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
I think in my case, I'm looking to be comfortable. I'm not looking to go out and buy boats and fancy cars and some toys that would be nice. But sure. Basically, I want to be comfortable. I want to not have to worry. I want my family not to have to worry. I want to be able to engage in things that might require financial resources that I can't do right now. Give me the opportunity to do things. There's a component of being able to give back to the community, and that I'm hoping this would enable me to do. There's history of that in our families, and I'd like to continue that and bring my kids into that as well.
Excellent. I love that.
And we want to go to the next boot camp.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yes, that'll be wonderful. In 2021, all going well. We had to move this year's, of course, thanks to the good old C word. But anyway, I think this is great. Look, guys, I mean, just to kind of wrap up for today, I love the journey you're both on. I love the idea you guys have now joined forces. I think that's a good lesson for anybody watching today's video, that it's an opportunity, something people can take a look at if it's a fit. It's not always a fit. You actually put out some good criteria, both of you guys did, for who to work with, who to know who to work with, and stuff like that. I love the getting to 10 SKUs. You guys will blow past that very quickly. And then I look forward to maybe coming back in 6 months or a year from now and seeing where the business is, how it's going, and all that. Because, I've known you, Michael, and I know Israel not quite as well, but I know you, Michael, for a long time. And I look forward to seeing you turn around to us in a year, or maybe 24 months from now, and be like, wow, look where the business is, because at the end of the day, getting to 7-figure revenue, I mean, it's only $3,000 a day, let's just say, or whatever. So it's not a whole lot, 300, $300, whatever it is, a day, which is not a whole lot, at the end. So like, I mean, I think you guys can get to that very, very easily. Would you agree?
I hope so.
Hope so too.
I shouldn't say we hope so. We intend to.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, absolutely, because that's what it's all about, So look, I love it. I love the story. I'm sure everybody who watched this video today has enjoyed it. Make sure you like this video. What I'd like you guys to do down below is just say thanks, Michael and Israel. That'd be great, and the guys will pick this up. I know Michael definitely, and Israel as well, because I get comments. I know you guys watch the videos, so they will be delighted to see you cheering them on and getting behind them in their dream. And it's going to happen. So guys, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it. And by the way, we like you better than Robert, but don't tell him that.
I'm definitely leaving that in. Thank you so much.
Take care.